there is Natasha in every one of us. Like I mentioned, 95% of women, but has been sexualized in Nigeria, even till today.
There's a Natasha, there's somebody who...
No, let her... You are breaching the rights of Ms. Okengo. She's a woman, let her speak, please, just a moment. Senator, you're obstructing... Senator, you're obstructing her from speaking her mind. Go ahead, please.
Yes.
Senator, just a moment. You are ruled out of order, Senator.
Okay.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, I'm not on Nigeria Senate. I don't know how it works. But I am talking
on...
Senator, you are ruled out of order again. You are obstructing. If I were the Senate Chief Whip, I would have moved you out of the chamber.
Yes,
go ahead, ma.
Can I? You are.
I was watching all the clips. It's quite very sickening, and it's omnipotently pathetic that this is where we are, and then the leadership of our, especially the first arm of government, which is the legislature. When I saw my colleague sister entering with a kiss, made me look back at when we were acting all this kind of entertainment stage theater as well while in the primary school. That is this where we are still, very unthinkable, very unspeakable, but don't let me go there. Now, about women folk.
So you didn't like the fact that the husband came with her in solidarity, in support?
Plenary?
That was not plenary, that was a
yes, it's very close to the plenary for a kiss over what? An internal affairs, internal matters in the Senate, and for whatever reason, like our colleague accused or alleged.
Is there anything wrong with what has happened between the husband and the senator?
When we say anything wrong or not wrong, then we talk about legality or illegality. It is not illegal, but it is socially, morally, and politically wrong. But it is not illegal. So it doesn't mean that all legal things are very good for adults to act. Like I said initially, I said this is just an episode of content creation, and then the content has been created. That is part of the skits in the content being created by our colleague, and then the whole thing is trending. They don't let us even go there. Let us talk about what you even raised about women folk, because now are we saying that law must not be obeyed anymore? Are we saying when one of us, either a man or a woman, breaches the law, we should overlook it so that we will not be accused of sensitivity to gender matters? Are we saying that? Now we are talking about the egregious breach, infractions against the rules of the Senate, against the orders of the Senate. We know what order 6 stipulated, and today, surprisingly, where our sister said she would not take that over her dead body, she would never go to the other seat. She was there where she raised her point of order to present a petition to the Senate today. Why was she there today? It means that she now knew that order 6 was supposed to be obeyed. It means that what happened on February 20 was a serious, omnipotent, and very powerful infraction against the rules of the Senate.
Which is, yes, she not wanting to sit
where she was allocated.
She claimed that she was not properly communicated to.
No, what is the proper mode of communication? The proper mode of communication when your seat is changed in the Senate is that once the presiding officer says that this is where you are going to sit, then the sergeant at arms is communicated to, and the sergeant at arms will communicate to the said affected senators or senator, which the sergeant at arms did today at the committee where the ethics
in what mode
and the public petition
was meeting. In what mode was that communicated?
Was there.
Was it just verbally? Senator?
Yes, they have to. They don't have to write letters.
There's no email.
No. That is not. It is never prescribed for.
Like the senator just came to the plenary and discovered.
Before you get to the plenary, the sergeant at arms will get across to you, and that is the duty of the sergeant at arms. And the sergeant at arms today averred that he adequately communicated with our colleague.
Was there evidence to that?
The sergeant at arms was there.
It was verbal.
He was there.
Does it raise a question about the procedure? Just a moment, sir.
No. There's no.
Just a moment, sir. Does it? Just a moment, sir. Just a moment, sir.
No. Let me tell you.
Just a moment, sir. Just let me ask. No, let me ask you a question. Your institution, the Senate, is an institution of record.
Yes.
Anything that you do, goes into record.
Yes.
And it's officially taken.
Yes.
Does it mean that perhaps there need to be a rethinking of the procedure in the Senate, such that if it's a verbal communication to change the sitting of lawmakers?
Okay, let me tell you something. This Fourth Republic started 1999, and there had been a Senate, and that they had always been a practice, which is reflected in our orders. That is standing rules in our orders. Now it is not 26 years after when Senator Natasha came on board that those orders will be rubbished and changed because of her. And now let me now go to what really happened. You know, when a seat is changed, the sergeant at arms is notified by the presiding officer. And once the sergeant at arms is notified, the sergeant at arms will communicate by calling that senator. And then our own sister senator came almost 30 minutes before the plenary of that day, as she saw. And she had already been informed. That's why she came earlier. She had never been coming as early as that. She came earlier and she was again informed. And when she got there were about 4 senators whose seats were changed. And she flung that inscription of her name. She removed it, flung it off, and then started reading causes and abuses, even before the plenary. So she was already waiting for that plenary, and then she did not even move to the seat that was allocated to her. She sat on the previous seat. The person that was supposed to sit there could not even find a seat to sit. And then she raised a point of order. And then the chief whip, who is supposed to maintain decorum, now raised up his hand that the senator is not properly seated. And until you are properly seated, according to Order 6.2, Order 6B of our standing rules, that you cannot make contribution. Either it is on privileges, it is on rights, or it is on anything, you cannot make any contribution. So she was prevented from making contribution. And then when you are prevented from making contribution, you were still shouting. She was still shouting. It was the prerogative. It is there in our order that the presiding officer can order you out. But instead of the presiding officer ordering her out, other senators prevailed over the presiding officer, that's the Senate president, that he should not do that. So she was given the opportunity to even sit down on the wrong seat throughout the sitting of that day. So after that, like I said, you cannot ask for point of order when you are not in order. You cannot say you can talk from anywhere. If that is possible, Senator, then it means that we are going to have a session of anarchy. It means that a senator will be at the market.
Let me ask you,
market, and be raising up his hand.
Yeah, Senator,
that he or she wants to contribute.
Senator, is this the first time in the Senate that every senator are well seated in their chairs that are allocated to them?
Yes.
Every time?
Yes, every time.
Put videos up where lawmakers...
No, if you sit where you are not allocated, you cannot contribute.
But
you cannot contribute.
Do you remember a scenario? I'll show you the videos.
Either by error of omission or commission.
Yeah.
There's a seat labeled Yemi Adarabodu. And then Sheyi Wakumbaloye sits down there. Maybe if I'm not in the plenary that day, you cannot raise your hand and then you'll be recognized to speak.
And that's at the discretion of the presiding
officer. It's not even discretionary. That one is point blank. That is Order 6.
Because we see your colleagues speaking without being in their seat.
There's no way.
So, Senator, do you remember your presiding officer right now in the 8th Senate when he was not a Senate president? And I'll show you video. And in fact, it was about when Bukola Saraki was Senate president.
What was the reason then? Let us state it. What was the reason?
And this was the scenario.
No, what was the reason? I've seen it. I've watched it. I've watched the snippets. What was the reason? The reason was that because the gadgets there are not working, are not audible. And then there's no senator or legislator who sit down where he or she is not going to be heard, not going to be seen, but not going to be heard. If you are within the press fit of the chambers, you'll be seen. Then you are supposed to be heard. And then the only reason why you cannot be heard is if the gadgets are not working. And you have that point of duty. You owe it to yourself and even to the Senate to raise up your hands and vehemently protesting that, look, where I am, I accept to be here, but I cannot talk. I cannot speak. Nobody will hear me.
So, I mean, it's interesting that this is causing when Senator Godswill Akpabio, and this is just for a moment, Senator, when Senator Godswill Akpabio did this in the 8th Senate under the Bukola Saraki Senate presidency, there are those who thought that the agitation by Senator Godswill Akpabio was right because he was not comfortable and there was an agitation from him and there was some kind of commotion on the floor. And it was all right to do so at the time. But when Senator Natasha Akpabio raised, just for a moment, Senator, you might be aggrieved about your sitting for different reasons.
For different reasons.
But the question is that can she be vilified because she's not happy about her sitting?
Now let me tell you something. Why vilification? The issue of vilification does not even arise at all because there's order. There are rules. First of all, if you get to where you are seated and you find out that some things are wrong there, you can now raise your voice that no, this place, the gadgets are not working because some other senators had sat on that seat before. They only moved you because some people have already removed themselves because they defected to the APC. So definitely, what you are supposed to do is that if you get there and find out that, oh, this place, I cannot talk there because the gadget is not working, then you can raise your voice. So you can say no. But if it is ordinarily that they have changed my seat and all the gadgets are working, you cannot just say,
Senator,
senators are bound to
was the ethics,
where you are rejected.
Was the ethics committee aware of the case in court before sitting today?
My brother, Ogashe, you are a journalist, well educated, well informed, and I know you are a lawyer, learned. The legislature has its rules, especially within the president of the chamber, and members of the legislature enjoy absolute privilege if they are within the chambers, not the plenary. You know that one. That anything done, said, during plenary within the chambers is not actionable. That is number one. Number two is that, are you telling me that, let us say there's a court session and the legislature now legislate that judiciary must not entertain it? No. We have our rules. We have our an arrangement within internally, within the chambers, within the plenary that we are dealing with. Is it possible that when we have started on a matter that you now rush to court and say you are restraining? For example, for us in the National Assembly and the legislature, if any case is already in the court, we will never entertain it. If it is already in court, I will get notice that this case is already in court, we will never entertain it, because that one is going to, there is going to be conflict. Likewise, if a case is being considered in the plenary, it's like making laws. If we are making laws, or we are raising motions, or we want to make a bill in the plenary, which is already listed, and which we are already talking about, are you telling me that somebody will just rush to now?
But today was the first day of sitting of the ethics committee on Natasha Akpabio.
The ethics committee has already started meeting.
When?
We started, that was around, I think around 1 or 2, because I came in today. I came in around 2.
But the court order came before today.
To us?
When did the Senate?
You don't understand what I'm saying.
Because
already, the issue of the other 6 matter infractions had already been referred, meaning that matter has already started. But it means that matter has already started.
But the ethics committee has not begun its work.
No, it has already started. It has begun. The process of the probe has not begun. The day, it is not the day that we are invited to come and talk that a committee has started its work. It's not that day. It's like an election. Is it the day of election that election starts? No. So the day that matter was referred to the said committee, that's when the committee has started, and it is within the plenary. Because and anything within the plenary,
the senator, because the issue,
my brother, like I said, you are learned and you are educated. And when a matter
is before the Senate, but not before the ethics committee yet.
What is the Senate?
First sitting today.
Is the committee not part of Senate? Is it not part of Senate? Is it an outsider? Is it extraneous? Is it an interloper? It is part of the Senate. It is the organ of the Senate. So it's not about whether those people that constitute the committees, are they from Senate or from us?
Because what we're hearing from your rank and file in the Senate is that this is like a fait accompli. If the senator does not appear before you, tomorrow there will be a move for a suspension for 3 months. That this is all cooked and planned.
Gosh, that is very, very preposterous. That is very, very preposterous. Look, Senate does not run like that. There is a matter before the committee of the Senate. It's being looked into. Now, all the parties to the matter were invited. And there will be latitude for you to come, defend yourself. Look, like I said, the Senate is not an animal farm where there are no laws, where there are no rules. Why that it is going to be a rule of the thumb, where I will bring my own rule from Ekiti South Central District. Somebody else will bring his own rule from Kogi West or Kogi Central or Kogi East. No, it is not like that. We have an aggregated rule that we succumb to, and it is constitutional for us.
So, Senator,
that we are going to.
What did you conclude today after the sitting, since Senator Natasha Akpabio?
I presented the case there. I'm not a member of the committee. Why I presented the case was that I was the one who raised the motion last week that the name and the identity of the Senate is brought into disrepute, that is egregiously being bastardized, and that I, as the public affairs and the public affairs man and the spokesperson for the Senate, that I feel very uncomfortable, very perturbed, and that this unscrupulous and stupid degeneration into this kind of neo-anarchy should be stopped. So when I raised it, then the Senate, in its wisdom, decided that, okay, we are going to aggregate everything because all senators contributed. Contributed for over an hour. So they now said, this will be channeled to
were you in Akwa Ibom on the said day?
Which said day?
The day Natasha Akpabio. You were not there.
No.
So we are not privy to what happened.
No.
To that day.
No, I was
based on the allegation that there were insinuations.
I don't want to go to the propriety. I don't want to go to the propriety or impropriety of any allegation.
Right. Let me ask you
allegation.
It is.
And I'm very happy. The second half of the Senate President, who has a fiduciary relationship with the Senate President, has gone to court. That is the wife of the Senate President. But on that day, I was not there. So the propriety of it is not for me to determine. And not only that, even if I were to be there, if what our senator sister put out there,
Senator, there is a big question mark, though, that why will Senator Akpabio, who is being petitioned in this matter, who is a party to this matter, be the presiding officer? There's a fundamental principle of natural justice and fairness in law. Nemo Judas Inco Sosua.
Yes,
you cannot be a judge in your own matter.
In your matter, yes.
Why did the Senate President sit on that matter?
Even when a judge in a court is being accused or is being alleged, the case will first of all come to that judge. The judge will read out the case before the judge can recuse himself or herself. So, Senator Akpabio, the Senate President, did not suggest what matter of personal interest any senator can bring up. So, Senator Natasha brought it up. It was not listed in the other paper, in the business of the day. She brought it up as her own privilege and right. And it was entertained because she sat where she was supposed to sit. And when she brought it, then it had to be read by the presiding officer. And when the presiding officer read it, he constitutionally, statutorily, deferred it to the Committee on Ethics.
But the Senate,
what did you do? So it is the only time
Senator spoke.
The only time
extensively on the matter. Why the presiding officer was still there?
The only time,
which is against the fundamentals and the principle of natural justice and fairness.
When Senator spoke, it was not trial. When Senator spoke, it was not
opinions
trial.
are being shared.
Opinions are personal. It's not the Committee on Ethics.
Not part of
it's not the Committee on Ethics, which is scheduled. Which is statutorily. But it is only the report of the committee.
So if you think that the Senate President shouldn't have recused himself, for allow any other, he is not the only presiding officer. He has a deputy. Just remember, Senator, if I may land on my question,
okay.
There are those who also think that in other crimes, in the Senate crimes, they say that the Senate President shouldn't be sitting as a presiding officer. He would have naturally had resigned from his position without weighty allegations of sexual harassment of a colleague.
Okay, let me tell you something. Like I told you, that when the matter comes to the court and then the judge is being alleged, the judge will first of all read it out before he recuses himself. Now that is when the case is going to trial, not the day that the judge reads it out. Now, whenever any petition, any matter, any motion, any bill comes to the floor of the Senate, senators are bound to talk. They are bound to debate. They are bound to talk about it. And if what they have said are enough, those matters would not be referred to any committee again. But because what they contribute, what they say are not enough, that's why that matter is now referred to a committee. And it is the committee report that can be sacrosanct. It's not the personal opinion of a senator. It's not what I believe. It's not what I think. It's not the way I see it or the way I do not see it. So in that wise, the Senate President did not need to recuse himself because there was no trial. So it is if they are today when the Committee on Ethics met and then they called people that were supposed to come and give evidences there, the Senate President was not there.
So the question I'm asking is, morally speaking, on a moral ground, if you were accused of sexual assault, harassment, or whatever, would you still be sitting there in the public office where the principles of morality are being called to question, Senator?
If somebody alleges me, and wrongly for that matter, though, if somebody alleges and I'm the head of that place, I will read it out. I will refer it.
Would you step aside, Senator?
Until when there is trial. When trial is on,
the matter has gone to ethics.
No, when the matter has gone to ethics, the ethics committee has not started any trial. And today, the ethics committee made a pronouncement. And what is the pronouncement? The pronouncement is that what Senator Natasha did is infraction upon infraction. Section 40 of our standing order stated that before you can present a petition, you are not going to be the one who will sign it and present it. Somebody else is supposed to make the petition, and then another senator is supposed to.
Senator, give me a moment, because there are a lot of Nigerians who are really worried, especially those
they should not get worried.
Just for a moment, those who
women
advocates are worried about this, and so tonight I want you to listen. I want you to listen to one of the women advocates. Just for a moment, Engineer Stella Okengu is live with us. She's the CEO of Win Homes. She's live for us virtually. Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight. And let me allow you to speak briefly, quickly, before we go on a break about this matter. What happened today, Ms. Okengu? What are your views of what happened today?
What happened today is repugnant. That is how I'm going to describe it. Because it seems as if our Senate ganged up against Natasha. What, in my own advice to the Senate President, I think that for the fact that Natasha said that accused him of any sexual allegation, what he's supposed to do is to recuse himself, stand aside, so that this case, she said she has the proof. They should allow her to bring out the proof. I remember when Dino Maleye and the wife of the president's case, that Dino said, I can impregnate you. That's sexualizing. What's Nigeria turning into? What's Nigeria turning into? I mean, America, if you check, 95% of women in Nigeria has gone through this abuse. And most of them cannot talk, because if they talk, how are they going to listen to them? How will you know that somebody will want to abuse you sexually? Some people will tell you, bring evidence. What evidence? When a man will meet you, and except if it's planned. In a same country that we are in, what we expect is for the Senate President to step aside and allow this investigation to go on. Nobody is above the law, Sheung. You're a lawyer. And Mr. Yemi is the Senate Speaker. Honorable Yemi.
Thank you, my sister.
Imagine that if this is your wife and this is happening, what are you going to say? Won't you step aside? Won't you advise that person in question to step aside? Apart from being an engineer, or I have business in Nigeria, I'm a juror in United States.
Let me ask you. Yes. Let me just for a moment, Senator. Let me ask you, Madam Okengu. Just for a moment.
When someone says
you said no, just for a moment. You said that it does look like there is a disrespect and the honor given to the women folk in the National Assembly, and this you made reference to past years. What would you say should have been done? What processes or what procedures would you say should have been done to give the woman in the National Assembly their rightful place? A place of honor, that is.
Yes. What I advise is for them to form an independent committee that will look into this and come out with the right judgment.
Apart from the ethics committee that this was being referred to.
Yeah, they should form another committee, an independent committee that will involve 50% of men and 50% of women. The two politicians that spoke, the two women that spoke about her does not represent us as women. They don't.
Does it give you and your colleagues a fear that the woman is an endangered political species? Is that the kind of feeling that you have?
That's the feeling I have. Not that. That's the feeling I have, because I experienced it firsthand in Nigeria when I came for my business. A political appointee abused me in front of the whole world. Nobody could come. I had to. It's like all the press, has been shut down. They can't even exhibit their rights as press journalists.
Let me allow Senator Adaramodu to respond to some of these. You see the feeling. You see the feeling without having to.
My sister. Let me thank you very much. Well, let me tell you something. I'm speaking on behalf of the Senate, including Senator Natasha, I'm not a spokesperson to only one senator. And I'm aggregating that every society is ruled by law and statutes. And I would have expected my sister to tell us that, is it appropriate for a senator, either you are a man or a woman, to disobey the rules, the statutes, the orders of the organization that he or she belongs to? And then when that one happens, we cannot even tell that person that obey first, and then you can now maybe if you have anything to bring up. And even
is that
after obedience,
that the same way you treat the men?
Yes, it's the same way. Look, in the Senate, Senator Abdul Nigi is a man. When he said something about the Senate, and the Senate was very uncomfortable, and it brought the reputation of the Senate to those people. There was a kind of discipline said to him. Later, it was rescinded. He was a man, not a woman.
Just for a moment.
Now, besides that, I'm due for a break. In the National Assembly.
Yeah, just for a minute. Give me a moment. Okay. I'm due for a break, and I'll bring you back, Mr. Okengo. And there is a huge damage to the reputation of the Senate, and I'm not sure the reputation of the Senate has ever been in the mud as it's being. I can't even remember even the first, second, or third Republican this kind of situation has happened in the Senate. Senator Godswill Akpabio, who is the leader, the chair of the National Assembly, and the Senate President, who is now being accused of sexual harassment. How do you hope to repair the image of the Senate?
Well, the image of the Senate is intact. I have not seen anything that is very inimical. The only thing is that, like I said, it's just a mere hoax. And then, like I said earlier, it's just content creation. And then when there's content creation, the media will feast on it. That is what is happening. In any crime, even outside Nigeria, there have always been maybe little uproar here and there, little brouhaha up here and there, because we are all human beings. So everybody has reasons of being in the Senate, and be it political, be it social, be it in whatever form. So some people, like our younger generation, will say they are catching their cruise. I see this one as that. Maybe our own senator sister is just catching
on the pain of that senator.
Yes.
She's pained about what is going on.
Look, let me tell you.
Imagine that
if it is not so, we are not going to be witnessing friction against the rules one after the other. Order 6 was fractured by her. Order 40, sub 4 was fractured by her.
What part of Order 40 was?
Order 40, when you are submitting any petition, you must not be the one who will sign it, that will present it.
So she shouldn't have presented her own
petition by herself, signed by herself.
So on a technical ground, a petition has been not
technical, it is illegal. It means that you are not sure. It means that nobody can uphold it for you.
So you think there is a procedural error?
Yes, there is.
The petition she laid
today. There is, yes. It's procedural.
But is there a possible way that you can politically resolve this matter? It's getting dirty.
Politically?
Yeah.
What's dirty?
Politically? Look, can you resolve this politically, Senator?
Yes, we will resolve it. We will resolve it. I tell you, we will resolve it. Before this Senate, there had been a time that a Senate president was even accused of maybe bulletproof this thing, even a code of conduct bureau, which is very, very heinous. Even murder, something that had to do with robbery and so on and so forth, which is even more dangerous and more somehow perilous than this one. And then it was sorted out. And this one is not.
Because the plan to suspend Senator Natasha Akpabio for 3 months is in the offing. That's what we hear. I mean,
who told you that?
When I'm speaking as a political journalist, you know that I'm not flippant. I'm asking you.
From where
if you're politically going to resolve this matter,
the committee of ethics had been saddled. When the committee will bring its report to the whole house, and when the report comes, then we debate the committee exhaustively. And then we now take.
Let me allow.
And not only that, finally, to my sister, to my very good sister, to my very great sister, I can understand her passion. In the Senate, the 4 senators that are female that are there, they are heading committees that have relevance with the day-to-day life of Nigerians: humanitarian, health services, women affairs, and even our sister who had hitherto been in local content, now in foreign affairs, diaspora, and the CSOs, the NGOs and CSOs. So I think the Senate has treated the women for.
Let me allow Mr.
Okengo.
Senator, again, this is not a man's show. There's Mr. Okengo on there. How do you hope that this can be resolved? And I'm pushing for a political resolution because things are getting dirty. Mr. Okengo, how do you think that this can be resolved, though?
Why I'm passionate about this, Mr. Sheung, is there is Natasha in every one of us. Like I mentioned, 95% of women but has been sexualized in Nigeria even till today.
There's a Natasha, there's somebody who...
No, let her... You are breaching the rights of Ms. Okengo. She's a woman. Let her speak, please. Just a moment. Senator, no, you're obstructing... Just Senator, you're obstructing her from speaking her mind. Go ahead, please.
Yes.
Senator, just a moment. You are ruled out of order, Senator. Okay. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, I'm not on Nigeria Senate. I don't know how it works. But I am talking on...
Senator, you are ruled out of order again, yet again. You are obstructing. If I were the Senate chief whip, I would have moved you out of the chamber. Yes, go ahead, ma.
Can I? You are. What I'm saying is that I don't know how it works. I don't know how I'm just talking on a layman language. Okay. How this can be resolved is there should be a bill that is supposed to be passed on women's rights, and I don't know how you people are going to coin it, but on sexualizing women in Nigeria, because it's getting too much. It's like a child's play now. Like men does it without. Look, I have a case in Nigeria that involves sexual harassment, but people told me I should concentrate on the subject matter, because if I say that, it's going to overwhelm my matter.
All right. Engineer Stella, okay, thank you so much. CEO Andy.
Honorable Yemi, you have a wife.
Yes.
Everybody there have a wife.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you for free that some of the things your wife go through, she might not be able to come into the house and say it to you. I'm telling you, it's happening for real. I'm a woman.
We've got to go, gentlemen and lady. We've got to go because we're totally out of time. Engineer Stella, Senator Aderamadu, thank you so much.
I excuse my sister. She said she's a layman. So, and let us put it at that. Those of us who are not laymen, we have already told how
this is how far we can go. We're totally out of time.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
You see this issue now. This issue is serious and it's serious because I've thought about this issue. I'm even tired of talking about this video because it's getting too much. And now this is just the beginning. We still have a long way to go concerning this now, because this is the news. This is the news on everywhere now. This one and River's crisis now. That is the two major issues on ground. There's a problem in this country. Lagos State now just do their own. That one now don't pass. Right now, this is the main issue now. Senate President Wike versus Saint Fumbara. And this issue, whatever I say, it look as if I am. People will say I'm being biased. I'm not biased, and I don't know I don't know, because for everything that happens, we don't have to judge this. People will say because maybe I'm not a woman, that's why I'm talking like this, or I'm not saying it the way other people are saying it or something. I don't understand, because when you look at these whole issues now, it's like I don't know, because when you look at it from the beginning, was there a disobedience to order? Yes, there was disobedience. Was there any, because in any institutions, okay, let me even see what brought about these issues was that issue of disobedience, right? Not listening to, disobeying the Senate order, not doing the right thing, isn't it? So we don't have to judge this matter. We don't have, if you want to talk about this issue, you don't have to bring emotions into this. You don't have to, because this one is a male gender, female gender, to judge this. Otherwise, that's where people are getting it wrong. Or when you speak about it, it will look as if people are against Natasha. No, but we don't have to bring emotions to this. In every institutions, there are some rules, laws that guide that institutions. Otherwise, there won't be orderliness. There won't be any. It will be like a state of what would I call it? Because like that man said, this is not animal kingdom where people will just come and do things differently. Everybody come with their own ideas. In every organization, in every group, as far as 5 people gathers together to work or something, there must be a leader who is to supervise that team, that this team will report to, listen to understand what to do and what not to do. There should be a law. It's the same thing. Every institutions. This thing, what brought about this issue of disagreement or this issue of sexual harassment was because of that order. And this man now explain. And look at the other woman is explaining. If you look at that, now it will look as if women are supporting women and men are supporting men. That's how people are saying it now. Women are supporting women, men are supporting men. Or some women who came to speak about this issue, whether they are right or wrong, as far they are not, they will say they are not supporting Natasha. Like I'm listening to a lot of recognized ladies, women speak on this issue. I don't get it. If there was no that disagreement in that Senate House, this issue of sexual harassment wouldn't have come up. But because there was that disagreement, if I look at what happened today, was it not because of why they reject that petitions dead on arrival because it does not follow due process, isn't it? It's the same thing with what happened that first day that triggered this anger, right? Anyways, I don't want to say anything you say like to look as if I say a lot of comments on my DM saying, "Are you supporting Akpabio? Are you supporting Akpabio? Are you supporting Akpabio? Are you not supporting Natasha? Or why are you talking like that?" I'm not talking like anything. I'm just talking like you, the way I understand what happened, what plays out in that very day. Do you understand? So it look as if they try to push women out of politics or something. If anything, everybody advocate, we want women to come into politics, but sometimes you need to know some certain